Patriots and Steelers. Patriots and Steelers. Let me pull up my notes. There it is. Some of the advantages I think that we will have, though, in this game, man. I like our wide receivers versus their DBs. I think that they are smart DBs. I think they're well coached, obviously. But in terms of when we're talking to Deontay, when you're talking Claypool, when you're talking to Pickens, the big speed element, I think that could definitely present some challenges for them. Speed was definitely hurting them last week. Obviously, we know Tyreek Hill is a different type of speed. But just watching how, they did allow completions. They did allow us to run out the catch. When I think of Deontay, granted, he's not a Jalen Waddle in the sense of that type of speed, but have we not seen Deontay do some of those things as well in terms of a 5-yard screen where he's able to take it and make that into a 15-yard play? Like, those are some of the things that when I look at Deontay, I say, man, I think that he can win any of these matchups he's going to face. When you're talking about the jump ball element, I want to see, can these DBs really hold up on the perimeter? I don't necessarily believe they can. But that's the part for me, man, that we're obviously going to have to find out. But I'd love, man, if we can get these opportunities where we're throwing that ball downfield to a Pickens, we're throwing it downfield to a Chase, even a Boykins. It's like, man, this secondary is not like how last week's secondary. Last week's secondary, they played well. I'm not even going to fake on it. Like, our offense has some stuff that was self-inflicted, but the Bengals, they still was doing some good stuff, man. I thought their DBs really did a good job of getting hands on our receivers and just making it a lot harder for them. When I watch New England on tape, I don't feel that same way about those guys right now. So like I said, I think that's going to be a nice advantage for us. Did you have one you want to hop in? Because I just had three I was going to hop in.
I'll just go reverse. I think our cornerbacks have a great matchup against their receivers.
Well, that's up there as well. That's my third one.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier with our likes and dislikes.
Yep.
You got Jacoby Myers, or actually, let me put it to you this way. Mm-hmm. You're going from Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, now he did get hurt in the game, Tyler Boyd, and this Thomas dude that was low-key cooking us a little bit.
Time out. Don't we do that every year? We create receivers, bro.
Yeah, Fulgham that 1 year from the Eagles.
Yo, it was like, who? It's Travis Fulgham, bro. Who is
Sims
this kid?
with Washington. Didn't he have like 100 yards?
Yep.
It's not the Sims that's on the team.
No, it was the other Sims.
I forget what his first name was.
Yeah, it was the other one.
He cooked us for like 100.
Yeah.
What other receivers?
Because the Amon-Ra St. Brown, he did this in the preseason though, when he got off.
Yeah, but he was actually good.
That turned out to be, yeah.
He almost had 1,000 yards last year.
It was in Quez Watson was the was it Watson?
Watkins.
Watkins. That's yeah. He was the other one in Philly. He was like, yo, who are these dudes and why are they getting off like this, man? Yeah, we will create a D. We'll create a receiver now. We'll do that. Don't be surprised if it's like, let's see, who's there.
That's what I was going to say. So, Jacoby Myers. We go from last week, Jamar Chase, like their trio of receivers.
It's Jacoby
Myers.
It's Jacoby.
Devontae Parker, Aguilar. Well, if you had to pick one.
Trevin Kinchako, he just brought it up. He said Chris Hogan was the other guy that we'd have turned him into. He was like, yo, who is this dude catching? Why?
Edelman cooked us a lot, but he was actually good.
Yeah.
Hogan was good with the Patriots.
Yeah, Hogan was my dude from Buffalo. He was not that in Buffalo. So that's why it was very heartbreaking to see him do that, but to moi, his teammate, on a bigger stage like that. Like, bro, we supposed to be Bills, man. What's happening here, bro? Show me some love. Let me win. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but if our corners did a solid job. I know it wasn't perfect because Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. We're talking about him as being a top 3 to 5 receiver in the league. These Patriot receivers aren't close to that. They're solid. Like, I actually wouldn't mind some of them on the squad, but as number 2s or 3s.
Yeah.
So if now you got our corners who I thought stood up pretty solid against the Bengals and probably is going to be the top receiving core that we ever play throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Is this a bottom 5 receiving core in the NFL?
It
doesn't have star power. It's got depth. If Kendrick Bourne's your 4th receiver, that's not terrible. Tyquan Thornton, if he's your 5th guy, he's the guy that you drafted in the second round.
It's going to be Kendrick Bourne. Just watch. He's going to be the one. I was looking for a random name. That was the one I was looking for. Kendrick Bourne. Watch. Yep. Don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be surprised. He's going to hit us with a 7 catches for 83 yards and a tutty. Watch. Just watch. I hope I'm wrong, but I just feel like that's the type of dude that it would be. How Thomas was in the game. We're looking at Thomas like, bro, who are you and why are you catching these passes? Why are you getting targeted like this, bro? What is happening right here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, it would even be better for our corners if we knew Levi Wallace was playing. But I still think we can get away with Akello, Cam on the outside, and then whoever you want to throw in the slot between Mollett, if you want to bring Trey Norwood up. Mm-hmm. We'll make it work one way or another. But definitely if we have Wallace, this is definitely a mismatch. I just think it is still in general, no matter what, our corners versus their receivers.
Okay. Yeah, so
they should be getting locked up. Like I'm not expecting like anything big happening unless, like you said, it's just one of those things where lapse of judgment or we're not prepared. Who knows? But on paper, there's no way the receivers should be cooking our cornerbacks.
Yeah. So like I said, that was another one of mine that I had up here. But the third one that I had, our pass rush versus their offensive line. We have to win this. We have to.
Oh, that was mine too.
Yeah, we got to win it. Granted, they get confused at times, but at the same time, I think that we have some favorable matchups. I really like Highsmith and Trent Brown. And Trent, I mean, he's been a really good tackle in this league, but he struggles with speed. And that's what Highsmith is bringing right now. Speed, versatility, bend, and knowing Trent, a.k.a. Baby Huey, he struggles with some of that stuff at this stage. His first stint with New England, totally different. When he was even out in Oakland before they went to Vegas, different. Right now, he's not that. You know what I mean? Like, could he get back to it? Sure. But right now, that's not what was showing up on tape. I just think that this is one of those ones, man, where our pass rush as a whole across the board, we got to win these, man. We got to win these ones. I'll be interested to see the Malik Reed and Isaiah Wynn matchup. Because prior to that, when it was going to be TJ versus Wynn, I was over here licking my chops, you know? But that's the one where I'm like,
I think Reed gets one.
I low-key feel like he does.
I wish there was a DraftKings bet that you can make. They don't do defensive players with sacks, though.
But this is my issue. I don't know if they're going to put them in position for that. Because when you watch them, like, when they're taking their shots, they're still not spreading it out like how the Cincinnati Bengals were, right? They're still keeping their two tight ends. We talk about not being explosive. They don't even run explosive style routes. They're not even, like you said, stretching the field with their route running. So I don't know if they're going to get the chance unless there's some type of confusion up front. But if they do get a situation, and this is why, you know, in terms of what we need to do, stopping the run is such an importance this week, because if you can force them to have to sit there and drop back and throw that ball a lot more, I do think now when you're talking about Malik Reed, I think he gets one. I think Highsmith will have a lot of success and stuff like that, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, especially after watching the Patriots offensive line and how we did without TJ Watt in the latter half of that game. I still think we should be able to get pressure on these guys.
Well, it was just in the overtime portion. Just, you know, and we did have some good pressure out there.
I think we did.
Absolutely. We still did get pressure, yeah. But that's the part for me. I'm just
it's still
like,
not the same. That's one quarter.
Yeah.
That's one quarter. I'm not discounting what TJ means. I want him back. We need him back. That's obvious. But
it is funny, though. Your urgency for TJ is way different than when you was talking about Naji. With Naji, you was over here like, man, get him up, man. We all right with Jalen. I'm cool.
Dude, it's because TJ, come on, TJ's game last week. Maybe if he would have played in overtime, we'd be talking about him versus Minka for the best defensive player across the league. Because he jumps up, gets a pick, and then he have a sack and a half and tackles for loss all over the place. He was unreal. Naji Harris ran for 20 yards. 10 rushes, 20 yards.
Hey, look, man, you go ahead and sit down.
There's a difference there.
Man, I would Jalen out there. So as we transition to Naji, though, how do you feel about him? Because he said now that he will be out there. Obviously, the team said they're going to let practice, you know, kind of dictate his availability.
I told you I'm taking the over on his rushing yards.
So because he said
no matter what
back,
it is,
you're rolling with him.
Yeah.
You believe it.
Yeah, it's just
even
one of those gut feel things.
Even though last week you said, yo, man, he ain't even look like he was healthy going into that game.
I told you, man.
And he's coming off of getting hurt in this game.
Najee's one of those dudes. I think he's in that type of stratosphere, like a TJ Watt, superhuman type of dudes.
But you just don't like
didn't look right last week.
But you'll sit
if he believes he's good to go.
You'll sit that superhuman for Jalen Warren, but you don't want to sit, you know, and worry about, hey, TJ, nah. He's like, yo, man, we might need to bring one of them big name guys in here. I'm just saying, man. I'm just listening to how you talking about it. You want a big name guy coming in here to replace TJ, but you could with Jalen Warren replacing Naji. Are you hearing what you? That's all I'm saying. You said they both
Jalen Warren's a big name to me. Big name after week one.
And what did Coach Thomas say, man?
Go through Twitter.
What did Coach Thomas say?
A lot of people are saying Jalen Warren's a big name right now.
What did Coach Thomas say?
He didn't urinate himself.
It's like when everybody was praising Duck, and what Coach Thomas say? He didn't kill us. But everybody in the fan was like, oh, man, Duck lit it up. Duck did it. And he's like, no, he didn't kill us.
No, but he elaborated a little bit more, saying, he was calm, composed out there. Everything he's done in the preseason, this is what we've expected with him. It was something along those lines. It was a lot more positive than what he was saying with Duck. and what he said with other. Anytime he brings up Dotson, for some reason, it's not that positive.
He does not. I don't know what it is, bro. I'm starting to think he don't like Dotson, bro. I don't want to start that narrative, but I'm just like, bro, what is it? What is it? It doesn't seem like it's cool.
For me, it's just more if Najee feels like he's good to go. Coaches feel like he's good to go. He's good, and I could just see him flipping the script because he even did it last year, and with the shitty offensive lines, where you see him at the end of the game, what he doesn't look right or whatever, and then he just comes back next week, and especially later in the season, he started cooking sometimes and getting 100+ yards, like the Browns game. So no, I think he'll be all right.
Okay. Now I can dig it there, man. I'm hoping so. If he's gonna be out there, I'm hoping that he's healthy. If he's not, man, just sit him. It's a long season. And that's the other part that I think, because we're so passionate, we understand the urgency of every game mattering, but this is a long season. It's not like college football where 1 loss kills you, 2 losses kills you. Like, that's not the case. But what can kill you is you trying to get these week 2 and week 3 wins, and we're putting these dudes out here before they can get back fully healthy. And now they got nagging things they're dealing with the rest of the season. Lingering things they're doing the rest of the season. Things that are going to compromise them being 100% the rest of the season. That's the part where I'm just kind of like back and forth of, is Najee truly right? And it's hard for me to take the team's word right now because of how they tried to downplay the injury in training camp. Oh, he just got stepped on. That's it. It's like, oh, no, it was a Lish Frank. It was a sprain. Oh, interesting. Oh, then it's like, yeah, just re-aggravated. That's what that was. It's like,
no, but they said he didn't.
They said he didn't rehab. Yeah, but it's like, you see, I was like, okay, which one is it? It's a lot of moving. It's a lot of this. No, it's not.
I believe
actually,
Najee.
it is this.
If
then it
Najee
is that.
feels like he's good to go, even if he is a little banged up, he's like, no, I'm going to be out there. I feel like he's going to do good. That's my point. I don't know if it's the smartest thing or whatnot, but I feel like he's actually, if he's going to be out there, he's always got the potential to do good.
Okay.
That's how I feel about him.
Fair enough, man. And you're not worried about the pride part either, right?
Who?
Pride. Because sometimes that pride will be telling us like, yo, I know I can't go out there, but you be like, I got this still, bro. Even though you probably shouldn't go out there.
Nah,
I got this, bro. I'm good. I'm all right.
Nah.
Okay.
It's happened. Okay. You're probably talking about a running back that we used to have a couple years ago.
I'm just asking questions, bro.
I trust Najee over him.
He was out there. He would get out there. That's what I'm saying, bro. Wasn't most ideal, but
Najee
he would be out there.
was very durable last year.
It is not a shot. I'm not taking shots. I'm just asking questions. This is just questions. That's all. Because I want to know your context. Because, like, for me, you know me, I'm always erring on the side of caution with the health part because I'd rather have this dude as long as I can have him versus, you know, me trying to force him out there for the sake of, hey, man, he tweeted that he was good or he said he's going to play this week, so I want to back him and, you know, allow him to go out there and jeopardize himself even more. And we talk about that just in the context of, like, not as serious because this is a foot, not brain, head trauma, but with the concussion stuff, right? How they had to introduce that third-party independent neurologist because the player isn't going to say, nah, coach, I can't go. The player is always, or 97% of the time, going to say, yo, I'm good. I got this. Yo, put me back out there. Even though you looking at him like, bro, you ain't even look healthy last week. And you got hurt in that game. And you going to tell me that this week you all of a sudden magically back, you good to go? You see what I mean?
What's good about this year versus the 2019-2020 version of James Conner?
Hey, man, why you got to drop the name like that, bro? I don't want to get, that's my dog, bro.
No, I'm good with him, too.
Touchdown maker. Just call him Touchdown Maker James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cardinals did rough in week 1. Did he do anything?
They did. I did not actually watch that game, no.
But the difference between this season and those seasons is we have a Jalen Moore. When Conner went down, it was, what? Benny Snell rookie year. Actually,
Benny Snell football was all
right. Benny Snell rookie year.
Benny Snell was all right.
Am I wrong on that? Yeah, he had the one.
He was all right, bro. He had the long run versus
was it Cincy?
Seattle? It was Seattle.
Yeah, he had a long run or two early in the season against Seattle, also the Chargers. But then he got some time.
He did.
I think it was the Bengals game. He actually kind of went off and helped us win it.
It was the second Bengals game. It was one where we switched quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was that one. Yeah,
he went off.
He almost had 100 yards.
Yeah.
He was a big part of that win. But then he fumbled against the Cardinals, and we never saw him again.
Yeah, but he was getting off that game too. And then he fumbled against the Giants that opener the next year.
Yeah.
But he was getting off that game too.
An awesome game in week 1.
Yeah.
Now we got Jalen Moore though.
So that's the difference. Okay. I like it. All right. Going back to continuing with this, we obviously talked about a couple of advantages I think that we'll have. Some of the things that I put as potential disadvantages. Now, they're not disadvantages just yet, but potentially it could be. I talked about this matchup a little bit earlier, but Dan Moore and Chooks Okorafor versus Matthew Judon. They're both going to see him. Judon plays both sides, and he is a good player on either side. He can rush from either side. He can play the run from either side. He's a good player. If the Chooks from last week shows up, I think we're all right. If the Dan Moore from the second, Dan Moore was all right last week too, man. He had some moments, but it was a lot better than the preseason. If that version shows up, I think we'll be all right. But it has to be consistent. You got to be super consistent against Judon because he's not just a smart player, but he's also a dude that's going to outwork you in certain elements as well, man. So that's the part where they really got to be just on their P's and Q's. But I have to acknowledge that, yes, that potentially could be a disadvantage for us, man. If we are, coming out there a little less than ready, a little half-cocked, yes, Judon will feel his impact a little bit more than we would normally feel. So hopefully those guys are doing what they're supposed to do out there, okay? Now, I'm sure in New England, they're over here saying, like, hey, bro, you got you a matchup this week, man. This the one for you, dog. It's going to get you some numbers right here. I'm over here like, nah, not Dan, not you. Come on, baby. I'm believing. Let's go. All right. The next disadvantage potentially we could have is, and you brought up Naji. I didn't even want to bring him up as this part, but I will just say our rushing offense versus the Patriots front seven. They are stout. They are physical. They are gap sound. They don't give up a ton of explosive plays in the ground game. And knowing how, our rushing attack wasn't as explosive last week or last year, and it's still improving. We're working it. We're figuring it out. But also taking into context, I don't know Naji 100% healthy or not. I like Jaylen Warren. I'm a fan of his game. I like what I've seen from him, from the tape at Oklahoma State to the preseason and stuff like that. I just don't personally like him as RB1 on Sunday. So that is something that I could potentially see being a disadvantage for us. And then the last was their tight ends versus our inside linebackers, just from a coverage perspective. But that's only if they actually feature these dudes. I don't really think that they're going to, because that hasn't been their identity. But I could see where if I'm watching us and I'm New England, I'm saying, hey, I'm not going to try these receivers versus these DBs. That's not there. I really don't feel as confident trying to run the ball against this team. I think we'll run to stay balanced, but the Patriots aren't looking at our front seven after last week and saying, hey, man, yeah, we're going to cook them. They don't have a Joe Mixon. And think, well, Joe Mixon was going crazy trying to do whatever, and he still was contained for the most part. Didn't stop him, but we kept the lid on. Mm-hmm. They don't have a Joe Mixon type back over there. Like Ramondre, I like him a lot. He's not Joe Mixon. Damian Harris, not Joe Mixon. So if I'm saying how would I attack our defense, how would I move the ball, I'm looking at Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. And I'm saying, hey, man, we're in 12 personnel, 60% of the time, 50% of the time for them? It's like, yo, those are how we generate our plays. That's the matchup that I'm trying to attack. I'm trying to see which one of these dudes is matching up with Jonnu, because I still feel like that could be difficult. And if whoever's taking him, Hunter is going to have the better matchup than on the backside. So that would be my approach, but that's a potential disadvantage that I could see. But it's only going to be a disadvantage if they actually utilize it. And on tape, they have not. You said it just so I said it like, they don't really use them dudes like that. Part of it, I'm sure, is the health thing. So you really can't game plan them when you don't know their availability on a week in and week out basis. I'm sure that plays into it. But yeah, those are the three for me, man, right now.
I don't know how much I have to add, because I think you hit the nail on the head. I was going through this. I was struggling to find some disadvantages, but in a vacuum, whenever you're talking about the Steelers team, you're like, okay, our offensive line could be problematic. Our running game hasn't been working, and linebackers, particularly like Devin Bush in coverage, or whoever it is in coverage against the tight end.
Because Spillane is our dime linebacker right now. At least that's what we're doing a lot last week. He was the guy that was coming on field for us in obvious pass situations.
I think that's more. So basically, what I'm saying, I think the disadvantage portion of it is more of a Steeler thing, as opposed to like the Patriots really outmatching us at these positions. Yeah. It's more just like, our O-line's the weakness. Patriots rush, or just defensive line front seven, they're not bad. They're solid. If we're not on our P's and Q's, this could be a problem. Our rush game hasn't been there. If we're not working it, gaps aren't opening up, That could be a problem because we saw it last week, and we saw it all last year.
Well,
Same thing with covering the tight ends with our linebackers.
Yeah, and the reason why that run game part is important is because I like our offensive line if we're balanced. I don't like our offensive line if it's an obvious passing situation because we've turned the ball over and we've become one-dimensional in this game. That's not what our offensive line is built for. So that's the part where why, even though it's a disadvantage potentially, it also is like very significant for us to be successful running that ball, so that way we can do some of the things that we're talking about with our receivers and our tight ends.
It's like a teeter-totter.
Yeah, but it's like we can't get to there if we
could
don't
be
get
an advantage.
this
All
part
those
just
things
yet.
could be an
Yeah.
advantage for us because we talk about Devin Bush and Miles Jack, the talent that we have at linebacker. Can we just see some consistency there?
That's the biggest part.
Same thing with our line. Like, we got some stuff there. I mean, we could probably get the run game going. Let's do it, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
But if it's not, it looks kind of like what we saw last week. Naji Harris, 20 yards, and that's not helpful.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.